This is my weekly meal prep, and we are cooking from my pantry and also from sale items. And we're just going to be cooking a meal and talking about frugality, homesteading, life, whatever topic comes up as I'm cooking. And if you're new to our channel, I'm Julia. Erin might pop in and out today, but I am one half of the Canny Couple. We are a small homestead family in rural Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality. One of the ways I do this is I have a very deep working pantry. And as you can see here, I have a lot of food that I have put up myself, that we have canned, or we have chickens that we have eggs from, but also a lot of different items that we've caught on sale or that I slowly build up into my pantry. So here is our meal plan for this week. Now I will tell you, this week's a little different than most. I don't normally cook this much food for a meal plan, especially our weekly meal prep. And if you're not new to my channel, you're like, yeah, you don't cook that much food, this many sides. This is Easter, so I do try to make sure I cook a little bit more on holidays, things that everybody in my family likes, and we can talk about that as we go through and cook. So what are we having? I've got it wrote down on my little handy dandy list so we can mark it off as we go. We're having a ham. Here I've got a spiral ham that I caught on sale. I will tell you, I normally get these around Christmas time, things like that, but I could not get them at all. Like every time they would go on sale, they would be gone. They would have signs out, limited stock, they're not here, we don't have them. Could not get a ham at all, so I did go ahead and get a ham. I got it on sale. I think it was $1.49 per pound. It is a spiral ham. These are the hams that Erin likes to eat as a meal. So I cook for my family, not necessarily what's always on sale. Erin likes spiral ham. He's not a huge ham eater, but he will eat this one. We are going to be making rolls. So if you see my homemade bread recipe, that's what we're doing. We're going to do that, and we're going to make some rolls. It works just fine. People underestimate how versatile just a simple, basic, white bread sandwich bread recipe is. You can make anything with it. We're going to make rolls. We're going to make potato salad. If it's a holiday, this is sort of a necessity in my household. Erin requires it. We are going to do mashed sweet potatoes. So I have all these canned sweet potatoes. Also have the potatoes canned here, so we're going to use up these. So we're going to use those, our canned sweet potatoes. We're just going to mash them. We're going to rinse them off, put them in the oven, let them cook and get as much liquid out as we can. Put some butter, maybe some cinnamon, that's it, and mash those up to eat as a mashed sweet potato instead of doing a mashed potato. We're going to do a test recipe. I'm going to make a carrot casserole. I went someplace for our anniversary, and they had this carrot confetti, I think is what they called it. I don't know, but it was amazing. They said it's like a sweet potato casserole with carrots, so we're going to try making that today. And we're going to make, for my little one, mac and cheese. We've got this on sale for 99 cents, and we bought this in bulk, so we have a lot of it, and I usually do 2 boxes. We are also going to be making some broccoli. This is about, I think, a pound of broccoli. We're going to make that for me, so I have something to eat. All really easy recipe. And we're going to have deviled eggs, but I'm also making eggs for breakfast for myself. So we're going to make deviled eggs, and I have like about 60 eggs here. And we're going to use them for a few recipes. I have pumpkin here in this little bowl. It is thawing out slowly, and that is pumpkin we put away. It was in our freezer. We're going to make a pumpkin bread for breakfast. And I also have, from part of my breakfast, I picked up these keto-friendly chocolate chip pancakes. So I'm going to be having pancakes for breakfast, and for dessert, for dinner, we are going to be making a chocolate fluff. So it is Cool Whip and heavy cream, and I will show you that recipe. Really, really easy. So as you see, we've got a lot of food here. Let's get started. We got some stuff to make and to get ready. When we come back, I'll be ready to show you how we put these things together. Now it is dark. As you can see, it is dark outside. It has been the 80s. 84, 87, some parts of the day. So when it starts to get this warm, I will cook Saturday night. I could put food in meal prep containers in my freezer later in the week and then pull them out as I need them, like homemade TV dinners, and they work just fine. But when it gets this warm, one of the ways I save money is I cook in the evening. So that's what we're doing. We're cooking at night. save money, and also it keeps me from having to worry about my little because it's her bedtime and I can make sure she's asleep and I can get all the food cooked and I don't have to worry about her being underneath foot. So let's get started. I've went through and I've started organizing and getting everything out, and we're going to go ahead and get started on my weekly cookie, my weekly meal prep from the pantry and from sell items. Now I will tell you, I didn't buy a lot this week for this meal. The few things I did buy, I bought the heavy cream and the cream cheese for the fluff. I didn't know what I was going to make. I was planning on making peanut butter cookies, but cream cheese was on sale, heavy whipping cream was on sale. I was like, ooh, I'll make fluff. Isabella loves it. And I could pull a little bit out for Isabel and Aaron and add some cookies or chocolate crackers to it. And they will like that. And then for me, I can just leave it plain, and that's a good treat for me as well. So I've got a pot here. Don't want to tip it. It's got water in it, full of eggs. We're going to get that on the stove. And then I have another pot here. It has water in it for the mac and cheese. We're going to go ahead and get those started. The next thing we have going, I'm going to put them on a medium-high heat. The next thing we have is our ham, and all I have spiral ham here. I am not using the glaze. Aaron doesn't really care for it, and I can't really eat it, so we're just cooking it like it is. But I am going to add 1 jar of homemade broth because it will keep it more moist as it's cooking in the oven. It will make it taste better. Oops.
I'll make an appearance to let everybody know I'm still alive. It's just, we've been filming odd hours, so.
Yeah, odd hours for him. Okay, clean up my mess. And we're going to turn the oven on 350. Well, yeah, 350. And get this into the oven. I'm going to put the lid on it. You can cover yours with aluminum foil, whatever you're doing. I don't really use aluminum foil anymore. I just use this because it fits most of what I need. It works perfect for me. Got this at a yard sale for $2. This was $2, right? It was $2, but I think the sticker should have been $7 and she didn't realize it, so she gave it to me. I said, this is $2. It was brand new, never been used. I always find these, especially at the flea market, and they have been scorched. And once it's scorched, it's gone. It's done. You cannot get the taste out. You cannot get it out. If you can, leave that in the comments below. I'd love to know what you do. And while you're doing that, we would really appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It would really help us out. But I can't get the scorched flavor out. I know I did this when I was learning how to cook when I was very young. And I burnt one and scorched it and did not realize that you can do that. But they're always scorched. And they're like, yeah, I paid $20 for this scorched pot that I can't ever use again. It's crazy. So we're going to put this in the oven. I would show you on my oven, but I need to clean my oven. My oven, like everything else in my kitchen, is very well used and very well loved. So let's get my bread going. You've seen my bread. It's a very basic, very simple recipe, but we can go through it. So we're going to start with warm water. And if you all are asking what's wrong with this jar, it is clean. What happened was I made a homemade dishwashing detergent. Recipe was from somebody I trusted. They said it works in hard water. No, it does not work in hard water. It about ruined a whole load of jars for me. I was not happy. So 2 cups of warm water. And I have to buy a bigger thing of yeast because this was all they had at my grocery store. So I need to get serving size 24 per container, 1/4 of a teaspoon. I need to get a tablespoon. So we're doing 1/2 of a tablespoon. I need to do a 1.5 tablespoons, so I will use my tablespoon here, and we will get this taken care of because we need this to start getting bubbly and yeasty. That's the goal. And this is the longest thing. These are the two things that'll take the longest of this entire meal prep, is the bread and the ham. The ham shouldn't take as long, but the bread, the rise, the first rise and rolling it out, and then the second rise, it takes, you know, two hours-ish. So we want to make sure we have enough time. So there is one. Not quite. It will take two. We're going to do in two. If it has a little bit too much yeast, that's okay. I've never had a problem with too much yeast. I've always had a problem with not enough. I'm so glad we grabbed 3 of these to make do until I could order some. Aaron swore to me I had yeast in the house. He's like, "You have yeast in the freezer." I'm like, "No, dear, I've used it all." He couldn't believe I had used two big bags of yeast. But we bought it in 2020 when yeast started getting really hard to find. At least for us, we couldn't find it anywhere. So we actually ordered it off of Amazon and had it delivered. And I put it in the freezer, it worked fine. Okay, here's our yeast. Now we need to add our sugar, and we need 1/4 cup of sugar. And that is the scoop I keep in my sugar. And we are just going to set this to the side and let it do its thing. As you can see, it's going to get nice and bubbly. And I'm just going to set it over here while it cooks. Now, what is next on our list? I have to look at my list here, otherwise I will miss something, forget. There's a lot of stuff happening here right now. So we have a lot to wash, but most of it's really easy to cook. The eggs are started. Let's get the pumpkin bread going. I have 1 egg in here because when I washed them today, I actually ended up cracking one while I was washing it. So normally I try not to waste it. I try to throw it into the pot. And I have a bowl here because I'm going to wash these eggshells. You're going to see my scrap bucket. I normally don't show you on my scrap bucket. Y'all are going to see that in these. So I'm sorry if you all don't want to see that. Let me know. If it doesn't bother you, let me know. But I had like 60 eggs I had saved up for this week. I had made sure I'd use the oldest eggs to cook. All your all's tips have been helping me out a lot with that. So we're going to come over here, get these eggs cracked. I need 3 eggs here. One was almost a double yolk. Try to be really careful. I don't want to get eggshell in my dish. Okay, got my 3 eggs. We're going to keep this super simple. Isabel has been asking for this particular meal for weeks now. So I told her, yes, Mommy will make this for you. That's fine, we can do that. I need the recipe. What is next? I know the eggs, but this is my recipe container. And these are the only recipes I have written down at this point. I need to write down a lot of others. These are the ones I have. So I just rotate through them because I use them all the time. Aaron gets on me all the time. He's like, you need to write down your recipes. Now I've got my pumpkin here, and this is 2 cups of pumpkin, but I'm actually not going to use the oil today. And the reason I'm not going to use the oil today, you can see it's got some liquid in it. So I'm going to kind of push that liquid out so it doesn't add any extra to our dish. We don't need all that extra liquid in here. And I just put it in the bowl. I let it thaw in. This is why I always put it in a bowl. If you have, and make a mess. If you have canned pumpkin or pumpkin that you've got in the freezer that you've pureed, put it in a bowl, especially if it's in like a little bag like this. They will leak every time, every single time. And it's a lot of water. This is probably going to be a cup of water, so I try to get all that out. As much of it as I can. It doesn't have to be all of it, but I do try to get a good bit of it out. I'll put that in here. Set that right there. Deal with that later. My towel is clean. I try to, when I'm doing all these big cooks, keep a clean towel. And I've been doing, I always try to change my towel when I wash clothes. At least then, if not, change it every day. But my hand towel in here is like habit. Go get a new one. Go do it every single time I wash clothes. That's just my habit. So here is our pumpkin. Here is our egg. We are going to add a good dose of cinnamon. Now this is 2 cups of pumpkin. This normally calls for 1 cup, but we increased it this time. And last time I made this, I did it with 1 cup of sugar. I'm going to try 3/4 of a cup of sugar and see if they can tell. Cinnamon is making my nose run. And the next thing we need to do is we need to add salt. There's all that. Let me move that out of the way. Before I knock it over, it's a very real possibility. If you all haven't learned, I'm a teeny bit accident prone. If you all are noticing, my arms are all scratched up. We're not sure what I got into. We're not quite sure what I've gotten into. It's been gardening season, so I've been trying to get the garden ready, all the garden beds, get those planted. We waited until a lot later this year to plant. I'm glad we did. We've had a lot of late frost. So we did wait until, which was good because we couldn't have covered everything if we would have planted it early. We have had that problem before where we've planted, had a lot of frost, it's bit it, and we've just lost everything. And then we had to redo it again at the end of April. So our last frost date is typically April 14th, April 15th, April 16th. April 16th, I think, is what it was this year. But I went ahead and I was like, we're going to do it at the end of April. We know what needs to go into the ground first, and we just do it in stages. In the evenings or in the afternoons, or I do it mid-afternoon during nap time, sometime like that. So my immersion blender, this is going to be loud, so you can fast forward the few minutes I'm done. This is how I take this and make it the best consistency. I will tell you, this is my trick to making really, really good pumpkin bread. I think this probably makes all the difference compared to anything else I do. It just takes that pumpkin, chops it down, makes it so smooth. Makes it so smooth, such a beautiful puree. Excuse me. I was given this gift when we got married, and they said, it wasn't on your registry. I know it's not on your registry, but this has been one of the best things I've ever gotten. And I'm going to tell you something, this is one of the best things I've ever gotten. It's been 8 years, and if anything happened to this, I would tell him we have to get another one. I'd probably get the same brand. Ours is a KitchenAid. I do really, really like this. This has been wonderful. I use this more than my handheld mixers, and I use it for everything. You notice I go through and you'll see me do like a punch, punch, punch. What I'm doing is I'm really making sure like those big clumps, I'm getting the immersion blender on top of them Like you see, like if I see a big clump, I'll just make sure I stick it there and make sure to break that up and then go through and mix it in. That's my tip, my trick that I use. Okay, all done. Now I will leave this out because we're going to use this for the carrots a little later. That's probably the most complicated dish, like beyond the bread, that we're making today. And then the next thing I need to add is my baking powder, my flour, because because I put so much pumpkin in and I'm leaving out the oil. It doesn't need oil. You can use pumpkin as a substitute for oil. I've done that before and it does just fine. So I'm actually going to leave that out. I put the salt in. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Actually, 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. Should be plenty. Then we're going to do 1.5 cups of flour. This is the flour we like to use. It's very simple, very basic, very expensive. There's my 1 cup, and I need to do 1/2 cup. I just eyeball it. It works really well for me. Check my eggs. Check my boiling water. Nothing's boiling yet. Then we're going to take a fork and mix this up really fast. So you all can see. I could use the immersion blender. If I want to add the flour, it makes it a little tough to blend. So I typically just use a fork, a spoon, something like that. I'm a fork mixer. I think a fork works just as well as just about anything else. I like a wire whisk, but I like the old school wire whisk. You know, the one your grandma had that had like the little spring at the bottom. That's my preferred one. I don't really like the silicone ones. And I don't like the ones that have the base because they pop out. So I've had so many of these things pop out on me and break, and I feel like they get rusty. And if you don't tip them upside down to dry, if you go to tip them up, all the water comes out. I don't like that. I want the one I grew up with. Next, we're going to add some chocolate chips. We're going to add just a few, and then we'll add some more to the top. I'm going to do 2 handfuls. And these are chocolate chips. I got these on sale. We actually got these $2 a bag, which is the cheapest I have seen chocolate chips at any time. My local Food Lion will actually put them on sale. Buy 2, get 1 free, 2 for $6. So that makes them $2 a piece, and there's no limit. And I will go and I will have, that's usually the only thing we get there. I'll have Aaron run in and go get them. Like, go get these. Go get these for me right now. So I have a Pyrex pie dish here. I actually bought these right before Aaron and I got together. I found these at Hamrick's, and I got them and brought them with me whenever I came here. I was like, okay, I started a Pyrex collection. I brought glass dishes, and then for our first Christmas, he gave me an IOU for a new set of pot pans because what he had was not sufficient. It was a bachelor's pot pan. Take my stick of butter. We're gonna give it a good coat here. I can use the olive oil. I've been trying to use more butter. Little one loves butter. I have to eat more butter. part of my diet. And they're just like, well, just take and eat a teaspoon of butter a day. And I have a hard time with this. I really do. Just pure butter. I don't know how people in carnivore do that. But Isabel, when I pull out the butter, she's like, I want some. I want some. So I'm like, okay, here's you a sliver of butter. And she eats it up. Toddlers. But she has been demanding pumpkin bread. She tells me every morning, she's like, you make me pumpkin bread? I'm like, I will this week. I will this week. Just give Mama some time. It is her absolute favorite breakfast. She loves it. I need to try freezing some muffins so I can have them on hand. And I might do that as a pantry prep. I think that would be really good. Now, muffins are a labor of love, but if I would be doing them, for me, they're a labor of love. I hate a muffin. I've told you all that before. I hate a muffin. That's one of my least favorite things to make. I think they are. I think they're so hard. But having silicone mini muffin pans, it might be worth it for me to make a big batch of 100 or 200 for her and Erin, so I don't have to make them in the summertime. So my water is boiling for my mac and cheese. Get that in there. And I'm literally making this per the box. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. I will say this one I have to use milk. This is a very sharp cheddar. Like a very sharp cheddar. So it does require milk. Set my boxes there. Try to scrape out all the goodness here. We want to waste nothing. And normally I would make 2 of these, but because I can't eat this, I'm only going to make 1. I could make 1 and put it in the freezer, but take up a little space. That's why I think muffins would make sense in that case. So now we are going to add our chocolate chips to the top. Actually, let me give it a shake. So it spreads it out just a bit. So pretty. So pretty. We're just going to sprinkle these on the top. I have found that I don't need to add a lot of chocolate chips to this to give it the taste, just as long as there's enough for them to get a little bit. So I will do 2 small handfuls and kind of make sure that with every bite there is a chocolate chip there, at least on the top, if not on the inside. Yep. That one is easy enough. We will get this in the oven. This is probably the longest baked item I have to make. It bakes for about an hour, and I'm going to wash my hands really fast and start the bread. They weren't really dirty, but I'll go ahead and get them washed just to make sure. And my spoon, of course, fell into the yeast. Of course. It never fails. So here is our yeast. You can see it's nice and bubbly. I'm glad it was active. I was a little bit worried about that. Don't know how long it's been on the grocery store shelf, so you know how that goes. Give my pasta a stir. Now, we don't cook pasta al dente. I cook pasta till I think it's done and then just go with it. I'm not a pasta connoisseur. I just cook it till I think it's done, and it's usually pretty good. So I need 1/4 of a cup. Do 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. We get this at Rural King. It's probably the cheapest place we have found to get it. We get it there, and we get it for $8, $7 or $8, I think, which is about as cheap as I can get anywhere else. It is 33.8 ounces. We are going to add our salt. Again, I'm eyeballing it. It works fine for me. And give that a quick mix. Now we are going to start slowly adding in up to 5 cups of water. It really depends on what your stuff looks like at the time. I might use less, I might use more. It really just depends on what my stuff looks like and how it's forming, if I get to that consistency I want. There's 1 cup. A little under. I'll set that right there and make sure it doesn't touch my stove. Go ahead and get my other 2nd cup going. It's 2. And I'm going to start with 3 to get my first little mix, and then I will add in 4, and then I will add in 5. I know they say to add 1 cup at a time. 3 works fine. You can do 3. Don't make it too complicated on yourself. Once you start to learn, you'll get the hang of it. So, add another one here. Erin and Isabel really like my bread. We had a hard time getting her to eat bread at first, but she's been doing a lot better with it. My eggs are boiling. I'm going to turn them off and let them steam now. But she's been doing a lot better with it. She's been eating a little bit. I try to control that. Trying not to have too much bread, but this is a holiday, so we do have, and I try to make something that my people like. I try to make at least one dish I know that they like. So for Isabel, she loves mac and cheese. Erin loves potato salad. For me, I'm usually the protein person, so I'd make sure it's a protein I like. And then the other dishes, they might like, they may not like. We'll try, we'll see. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 cup here. And I'm going to have another 1/2 cup ready to go if I need it. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to use this hand to get in here and mix, and then I'll be able to grab it from here. So I'm going to throw that on there so I can pull all of that off. I try to always keep 1 clean hand, 1 dirty hand. That works really well for me, unless I'm doing like a batch of 8. Then I just go full in both dirty hands. Like, there's just no way. You're like, Julia, why are you making 8 loaves of bread? You're 3 people. So I'll do half loaves. So I'll actually have 16 mini loaves of bread. And what we do with that is I will actually put that in the freezer. And when I put that in the freezer, it will, I just pull them out as I need them. Whenever I'm having a hard week, whenever I'm tired, I'll pull that out as needed, and we just eat it then. I don't have to worry about it. I'd rather bulk cook it, especially when it's this temperature right now, and it makes sense to have the oven on versus whenever it's 80 degrees and 70 degrees at night, and it does not make sense. So I'm going to tell you, you can see this is kind of wet and moist. That means I need to add more flour. So I'm going to need at least, need a little bit more. This 1/2 cup of flour, because it is. Okay, once you start to do this, you really learn by feel. Once you make a really good loaf of bread, you really learn by feel. And this is a simple recipe, so few ingredients, but man, is it an easy recipe to learn and make and do for your family. You could tell I did not put my little oven mat underneath here, and I'm regretting it severely because my bowl is moving everywhere. And that's so much better. That is the consistency I need it to be. And I don't move this to a clean bowl. All the recipes say, move this to a clean bowl. You need to do this. I've not had an issue leaving it in the bowl it's in. To me, that's another bowl. I did that when I first started. I was like, why am I doing this? This is another dish I have to clean when I'm done. So I focus on how do I get by with as few dishes as possible. Tell me in the comments below, are you one who cooks that way? Do you cook with the thought of, you know, practicality? It might not always work out, and it might not always, but for the most part, I've never had an issue. And I know bakers are out there screaming their outrage right now. Follow the recipe exactly the way it is. All right. Tuck it in just a little bit. Not that it matters because we have to reshape it a little bit later. There it is. Beautiful. It's got the right texture. I feel it. Don't want to overwork the dough. Just want to make sure all the flour is fully incorporated into it, and then from there we will make it. I find if I overwork it and push it too hard, it kind of gets really dense. I don't want it to be dense. I want it to be more, I just want it to be more like light and fluffy. So I try to find that medium. And I'm reaching over to grab one of my linen towels just to make sure, because I can't put this in my oven like I normally would. That way it will be covered up and I don't have to worry about like a stink bug flying around. Normally I wouldn't even bother with this, but stink bugs, it's been warmer, they get in, or any other little bug around. So I'm gonna wash my dishes. We're gonna move the camera. I'm gonna wash the vegetables and we'll be back to see that. Macaroni got finished while we were chit-chatting and making the bread and the pumpkin bread. So we're gonna go ahead and get this drained. I just poured down the drain. You know, if you do something else with your pasta water, let me know. You can also add a little bit, but where this particular macaroni cheese requires milk, I'm not gonna keep any of the pasta water. I won't completely drain it, so there'll still be a little bit clinging to the noodles, but for the most part, I don't really worry about it. So we're gonna drain it, and the way I drain is just leave it in my pot. You see this little handy dandy silicone drainer on here. Lovely. Aaron got me this for Christmas one year, and I can tell you something, I use this so much. He uses it too. And when I drain pasta, I try to drain in both sinks because I'm trying to kill any bugs that might be in my sink, like the gnats that grow in the bottom. So if I drain with that piping hot water, I always try to do it in both sinks just to kill anything that might be in there. We're going to pop this off because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to set this on a trivet to the side. And now we are going to start on the next part of this, which is all of our veggie prep. This is super easy. And a lot of this I do to make the canned vegetables that we can taste a little bit better. It works really well for us. So let's start, I guess, with my carrots. My hands are clean, no more bread dough. And yes, I have dirty dishes on one side of my sink. This is a double-sided sink. For me personally, a single-sided sink does not make sense. I did not want a single-sided sink. I wanted double-sided, but I wanted as big as I could get. And you all can't tell, but this thing is massive and it is so deep. It comes to right here. So it is that deep on my arm. So if you can tell, like, it's that deep. I love this. One of the best things we did. And also this. So I was really hesitant to get one of these. I saw so many people and they were broken. I think it's the type you get. I think if you get one of like the $50 or $60 ones, those are the ones that tend to see the break. Ours was not $50 or $60. Ours was quite a bit more. I wanted to make sure it would not break on me because I am rough with stuff and I use this all the time. And the height of it as well, it really works with my big pots. And like this here, when I have like my big canner, I just pull it over and fill it up. It's a dream. It's a dream. I made my kitchen functional for me, somewhat for Aaron, but mostly for me. And my head's going to get cut off and on and off here in this view. If you don't like this view, let me know in the comments below. We're trying out a few new things. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. And my Fitbit's telling me, you reached your steps today. We went yard selling today and also had to pick up some chicken feed. So all of that good stuff for our animals. And I will go through and clip off some of these little ends here. I just want to give these a good rinse. They're already clean, but just to make sure there's nothing else on them. Oops. I had a lid in my pot. It's not supposed to be there. And this is the pot I'm going to steam the carrots in. While I have it over here, I'm going to go ahead and add some water to it because I'm not carrying it back over here to get water because it's heavy. I'm all about practicality. I don't need a lot of water, just enough to steam it. I don't have a lot of like smaller pots, so my pots tend to be a bit bigger. So I have to deal with that. That just means I have to wash a bigger pot. It is what it is right now. It is something I'm slowly adding to my list, but it's not like a priority because the pots do work. So here's that. Then the next thing we have is a pound of broccoli. I got this at Sam's and it was $4 for 2 pounds, which is a pretty good price for us. Typically, you pay like over $1.45 per floret in our area for fresh broccoli. I've not had fresh broccoli in ages. So I was like, I just want the fresh broccoli. It's a good price. We could pay that. We're gonna, again, give this a good wash. And I like to use the sprayer function on mine and the harder function as well. Try to make sure I don't get too much water on my face. This broccoli's turned out pretty good for us. I'm going to pull out any stems to set to the side. I'll give those to the chickens. I'll put them in my scrap bucket. And you might see I have some weird things over here to the side. You see these jars with banana peels in them. That's fertilizer. I also have some eggshells in there as well. We are using that for homemade fertilizer to add some additional nutrients to our garden this year. Let's see, can I get that? I would like to get that in a smaller dish. But I don't think, I wonder, let me see. I don't think I can. Let's see which one? It's a little bit bigger. I would like to save this dish for the sweet potatoes. See if we can make it work. Because it'll cook down and I will finish adding what I need to and after I get everything washed here. Our chickens love all this fresh stuff, but you know what my chickens like the most? They like bread. If I put bread out there, they go insane. Absolutely insane for bread. I don't understand it. I can have, and rice. They like rice, especially when I soak it in, like it's got like beef fat and things like that in it. They love that. So I'm going to set this again to the side. We're going to rinse this out because we don't want broccoli in the potatoes or the sweet potatoes. But my drainer is clean. I don't want to wash another strainer. So we have one strainer, we rinse it out, we wash it off if we need to, and we keep reusing it till we're done. I know I might be a little too practical when it comes to these things, but it works for us. So we're going to pop all the lids off. Now we are not going to put all these in here at one time. But we're going to pop off all the lids, and that one, it's not bad, but it has a little black spot on top. Not black, but like a potato that gets like a little dark when you leave it out, that where it just turns whenever they're not soaked in water. It was just that right there. We don't want to put that in the potato salad, so we just pop that off really fast. So I had better luck sealing with these cheap lids that I got than I did with some of my name brand lids this year, or last year. So we're doing a sniff test. Make sure I don't smell any rotten potatoes. Okay, I need to get a knife. I will be right back. All right, have my butter knife. Got a pot because we need a fresh pot for this. I didn't have room to put them all over here. And we are going to cook these potatoes for like just a minute, just to make sure, just to help cook and get all of that extra starch off. It does help if I cook them just a little bit. I could do it raw, but I'm going to cook them just for a few minutes. So we're going to do these 2 jars at a time. These are 5 pints. I did most of these in pints, but I think next year I'm going to do a lot more quarts, especially for these kind of meals. I kind of want a mix of quarts and pints. If I do potatoes for like a lunch or dinner, like one dinner for us, I need like a half pint. I don't need like a quart of potatoes. But if we're doing like a meal like this, I need more quarts. So it's kind of the way we think of that. Or if I'm doing a potato soup, I need more quarts. It works really well. But you can take as many pints as you want to. 2 pints equals a quart. So I'm doing 2.5 quarts here. You can tell it's got all that starch, and we're just going to wash the majority of that off. And that is what makes these potatoes do so well whenever I can them. I just make sure I get all of that off. But a lot of people are like, well, why do you even bother canning them if you have to take that extra step afterward? Because it makes them shelf stable. We cannot store potatoes for any length of time. We've tried. It does not work We just can't get them to keep. But we can can them or freeze them, and they will keep. I don't have a lot of freezer space. I want to use a freezer space for other items. Canning makes more sense, and it's just as versatile. So I'm going to get my hand in here and just start breaking these up and breaking that starch up. And that will help it go down the drain. You can kind of see. It's actually filling up my little strainer here. I'll take and get all that out later, but I don't want it to clog up and get into my food. I have this metal thing right here, and it gives me a little bit of leeway. But I would say that's probably the worst part of this is that starch. It does build up into your strainer, so I do have to kind of watch that really carefully. It just does not like going down the drain. So we have to kind of do it in a bit of a batch. My sink was clean. I scrubbed it. I had to wash eggs, so I always scrub my sink really good after eggs. So if you're yelling at me because I'm putting my hand in it, it's clean. It's just keeping any of that extra starch from my potatoes here. We are doing that one. And next, I did. I threw my fork over there. That was not my best move. Let me wash it really fast and drain it off, and we will reuse the fork. First knife. Here is my clean knife that I very mistakenly put to the other side. I was not supposed to do that. Erin was surprised. I was very hesitant to do potatoes. I know a lot of people said they don't like canned potatoes. Other canners that I trust said they didn't like canned potatoes. I was like, I need another way to store these. So let's just try it and see what it tastes like. And the first meal I made with them, Erin wasn't so sure. But then I kind of learned my mistakes. So we actually did it again, and Erin was like, oh, these are great. So you can even make these crispy. You just have to rinse them, pat them dry, and like put them in an air fryer and let them just cook, and they will get nice and crispy and hard. The first time I made them, I put them in I've tried to fry them. Well, those are going in the scrap bucket. Oh, it wasn't that many. Okay. Like I said, this is the worst part of these. The sweet potatoes are a lot easier. Theirs rinses off really, really well. The white potatoes, it does take a bit more effort to get as much of that starch off as you can, but I don't get it like all off, but I do get like where it's pretty good. You can tell because the starch looks like a jelly. It's kind of like a gelatin, a jelly. You can really tell it's there. So you just want to make sure you're wiping that off. Now we'll get all that liquid out of my sink and rinse it out before we put the potatoes in there, the sweet potatoes. It's just one of the things that clogs up your drain, and you have to work with it. Well, it doesn't really clog up your drain. It will catch, but it does kind of sit. Like I said, it's like a gelatin. This works well for us. Tell me your comments. Do you all get the starch off, or do you just throw it in the pot and just let it recook and heat up? I get the starch off. I'm going to wash my hands really fast before we go to the next thing. The great thing about having an apron, you have a built-in towel. Erin's got me a lot of aprons over the years. I think this is one of my favorites just because it's so simple and easy to use, and it goes with just about everything I have. So these, I go back and forth between keeping my lids. These lids I'm going to toss them off. I've been trying to toss lids that have been canned. But other lids, like if I use our, not pressure cooker, but the pressure sealer, I will keep those because they haven't been canned with. Not for canning, but for other pressure sealed items, like for sealing other dry goods, anything like that. I'll try to keep all of those on hand. I've tried to get better, but you might see a pressure sealed, jar of crackers from us that says apples on it underneath, and that's because I kept that one. Do the sniff test every time. Yep, we're good. We are good. And my sink is dirty now, so it will need to be cleaned. And I will get to that here in just a few minutes. get all of that junk out of my drain and get it into the trash can. Out of the basket. Well, ours came with like these little 2 to 3 inch deep baskets, and they catch so much stuff. So I did 2.5 quarts, 2 quarts and a pint of these. And if you're wondering what this little handy dandy thing is, it's actually one of those jar cleaners. So I use that quite often. It was an investment. We made a mistake. We put the sink in and we had the countertops put in, and we said we only need 2 holes. We only need 2 holes for this, and they did just 2 holes, and we needed four holes. So we bought the wrong stuff. Try as much liquid out of there as possible. We'll pop it in the oven. In the oven, it will get most of that out. Then I'm going to get the rest of this out. And then we're going to clean the sink and get everything started. I'm going to finish off most of this. Most of this goes into the oven to finish cooking. And we're getting close to being done. And most of it's going to be just let it do its thing before it's all finished. Okay, so I've reset. Got all of the sink cleaned out from the potatoes. I should have done those last. And now we're going to get the potatoes and the carrots started on the stove. So I added probably a cup of water to these potatoes. And you saw the carrots. They're already ready. And we're just going to turn those on. Let the carrots get cooked all the way through. Get the potatoes. They're already cooked. We're just going to get those steamed up and let them do their thing. The next thing we are going to do is the broccoli. So actually let me move some bowls and the mac and cheese. Here's the broccoli. So when I do my broccoli, I actually don't put butter on it now. I'll put butter on it when I eat it. I'm trying to be more intentional with how much butter I eat to give me those healthy fats that my diet is asking, or my diet is a requirement. It's supposed to help give me more energy. But all I'm going to do is salt it. Now, you can use whatever seasoning you like. I have found just a good amount of salt. Put that in the oven, let it cook, and I eat and I kind of portion this out so it lasts me throughout the week. Most of my diet right now consists of meat. It is mostly protein. I would say 85 to 90% of my diet is meat. For breakfast, some sort of protein, eggs, anything like that. It's very, very little vegetables or anything else. So we're going to get that into the oven. The sweet potatoes in, and my glasses got all nicely steamed up. And actually the pumpkin bread is finished. I will show you what that loveliness looks like. They turned out perfect. I have to step away for just a second. Look at that. I feel like Betty Crocker. Beautiful. So now let's see, what do we want to make now? The eggs are cooling. This is cooking. The ham is cooking. What is on our list? So we can't do anything. We check the bread. Ooh, it's ready. I'll set my eggs to the side. The bread is actually ready to go. So let's get the bread done first. So I've got my pan here, and I will put all my rolls in this pan. That works really well for us. Again, I got my stick of butter. Here's my softening. I'm going to use this entire stick today for the carrots. So whatever's left, it'll be enough. I want to make sure I get a good amount on the bottom because I don't want these to stick, and that butter will just give it extra added flavor. I don't like to cook with butter. I don't think butter does as good in my bread as the olive oil does. I have found the olive oil just does better for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but it does for me. Okay, so here's my bread. It's nice, it's lovely, it's jiggly. And because I'm doing rolls here, I'm just going to keep it kind of in this bowl because it's kind of, oops, it's a flat surface. I'm going to sprinkle a smidget of flour on top of this because I need something to work with my hands. You can kind of tell, it just kind of went perfect. You can see that elasticity. It's just right. We're just going to kind of work it and get it rolled up perfect. It just lovely, lovely. And then we're just going to roll out some beautiful rolls. And I know everybody has recipes for rolls, and I usually do something different too sometimes, but I found my people, they like this one just as good. They really do. I mean, Aaron has never once complained about this roll recipe. My father-in-law hasn't. My family hasn't when they eat it. So I've never had any real issues. And I'm just going to break these up. What I don't want an extra mess I have to clean up on the countertop. I can clean a bowl a lot easier than I can clean the countertop right now. I've kind of got a lot of stuff happening here. So I'm trying to keep my mess down as much as I can. So kind of tore it into pieces, and now we're going to make a little ball. Now I'm feeding my people. They don't really care what this looks like. They just care that it tastes good. So I know a lot of people are like, it has to be perfect. Mine does not. It really does not. And I will make some little rolls. Those are for Isabel. That one actually might be too little. I tend to always try to make hers just a smidget smaller, but she is smaller. I mean, she doesn't require, she just doesn't need as much. So make hers just a smidge smaller. She can have as much as she wants to. If she eats that and she wants more, we can make her another one. That's not a big deal. And then all I do is I just get them to the right size, the size I want, and just kind of fold them around each other. Give them a little dough. This works so well. It really does. If you haven't tried this recipe, just try it. I've given it to y'all so many times. It's so easy to do it. It really is. It's so easy to make this bread recipe. Just a very, very basic, sorry, my face was itching. Very basic bread recipe. We also like sourdough. Aaron's a really big fan of sourdough, and I just haven't had the energy to work through sourdough because it's just a multi-day process. And for me, right now, I'm kind of working through every single day. If I feel good, I try to do a little bit more. If I don't feel good or don't feel up to it, then I only do what I can. And these are not uniform. I just kind of make them as I make them. Kind of just fold them over like I would like a loaf of bread. The only difference is I'm making rolls. And this will make a good amount. This entire thing will be full. And we'll let this rise for about 45 minutes till they double in size. A lot of people do a butter wash or an egg wash, or I don't do any of that. Sometimes I put oil on them, but most of the time I don't even do that. I found it is an unnecessary step for us. It doesn't really do anything to it, so there's really not a reason for me to take that extra step right now. And we will, Aaron and Isabel will eat these for lunch as well this week. They'll have these as sandwiches. We went to Grocers United today, and we picked up some more beef salami for Aaron. He really likes the beef salami. So what I'll do is, we picked up a roll of it. What I'll do is I will take that salami and we will cut it up, and I will try to get 5 to 6 weeks worth of sandwiches out of that. And what we'll do is I'll put part of it in the freezer and part of it out, and they will eat on that. And we'll just pull some out, and they'll eat that and pull some more out, and they'll eat that as well. That has been working really well. It's been saving us a lot of money. And we've been finding some foods that Isabel and Aaron just really, really like. Isabel loves it. Aaron had to take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to work because Isabel wanted her beef salami. She's like, I want beef salami. I was like, okay. I wasn't planning on giving you this week, but Aaron, you're taking a peanut butter sandwich. When a 3-year-old is willing to eat something, you feed it to the 3-year-old. She's not that picky. She can be in some things. Once she tries certain things that you know they'll like you just try it. That's probably the biggest hurdle we have is just give it a taste, just try it. And then for her, it's a really big texture thing. So if the texture's not there, then that's where we have a trouble. Be a little too big. We will cut this in half. And I use this for hoagies. I use this for, you can take these and stuff them like pepperoni. These are amazing with pepperoni. Actually, I did that at Helene. We knew something was going to happen. We just weren't sure what was going to happen. We didn't know if we would lose power, but they were saying there's a very good chance you're going to lose power. You need to be prepared. We're like, okay, we're going to lose power. So I was like, we had saw the recipe for pepperoni bread where you take a basic bread recipe, you put pepperoni into it, and you bake it. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And it worked out really well. We were able to eat on that for days. It didn't require refrigeration or anything like that. It was one of those that I wanted to say like coal miners or workers would pick up at like gas stations. And they could keep it because of the way it was done. It was made so it was more like a shelf-stable bread. So it was able to just sit out, and it just really lasted a long time for us. It worked really well. We didn't put anything like cheese or anything in it like that. It was just bread and pepperoni. It would have been really good with like a pizza sauce. But it worked good. It was so made. It took some stress away whenever we were going through that because we were able to, I had the forethought to prep through and make bread. I wish I would have had some more bread in the freezer at that point. I could have just pulled out a loaf. We didn't, but I'm working on making sure I always have at least 3 or 4 loaves of bread in the freezer right now, so we don't have that problem if something like that were to happen again, especially in the winter time. Winter time's where we're more likely to lose power. But lately we've had such terrible wind in our area. Even today it was blowing over things at the flea market, and it was a crazy strong wind. It was good. It was comfortable, but it was very strong. We're just gonna keep working through. I'm almost done. But let me know, do you all want to see more of this type of content? Do you all prefer me to go back to the way I was doing it before, where I would do a lot of the work, turn off the camera, come back whenever it was done? Let me know what you all like to see, how much you all want to see of this, because we're testing out a few different things, and we want to make sure we're giving you all the content you all want and are doing the things you all want to see. We'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you want to see from us? We're just going to keep getting these into these perfect little, not perfect, but cute little rolls. Like Isabel will eat a biscuit, like at all. I can't get her to touch a biscuit at all. But I can get her to eat like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. So the mind of a 3-year-old. Okay, so those are done. Here they are. Beautiful, pretty. And we're gonna set those to the side right now. Just put them up here on my countertop. This is what I like about my countertop. I have enough room to put the stuff. Before it was awkward. We had this like a cabinet up above where it hid my thing, where my over the oven vent was, and it made it harder to maneuver. But once we opened this up, it made it a lot easier to work through. So I'm gonna get a lot of this flour up, put it into this bowl, and I'm gonna wipe my hands down, and we're gonna wash my hands, and we're gonna get this mac and cheese started here in just a second. Let's make this mac and cheese and get it ready. So I have the spoon that I use for the mac and cheese here. We've got 2 cups of milk. Now the mac and cheese is just macaroni. That's all it is. Pure macaroni. And it's cooked, ready to go. We're making it like we do any other mac and cheese out there. We're just gonna add milk. Cook per your instructions. I did 2 cups of milk because what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna put it in a pan, put it in the refrigerator, and then tomorrow when it's time to eat, like an hour, 2 hours before, I'll put my oven on as low as it'll go, about 200, 185, somewhere around there, and just let it cook. So let it cook. Lightly warm up everything, and that works really well for holiday meals, or any other meal where you're having to do like a big bunch of bulk cooking. I've just found it's a lot easier than me having to go through and try to cook the food the day of. So what I like to do is like to cook it the day before, the night before, have it in the refrigerator in these kinds of dishes. I can get a lot of these in my oven. I can get so many of these in my oven. Now I used to cook a lot more food for these things. I've really pared down, but Aaron did tell me I was making too much. I told him I wouldn't make his potato salad. He said, well, you could make my potato salad. I was like, you told me I was making too much. So we're just gonna get this mixed up. If it doesn't get fully incorporated tonight, that's fine. We're going to cook this again in the oven tomorrow. What I don't want it to do is I don't want it to be super, super dry. Who wants to dry mac and cheese? You want it to be creamy, so adding a little extra milk will help with that. You can add water, pasta water, whatever type you like to use. We use this. This is what has been on sale for us. It's been cheaper than the stuff from Aldi's. So when I catch it on sale, I'll look at anything else that's on sale, and I'll get at least 10 boxes, if not more. So we're gonna go ahead and get this into our glass dish. Now I'm not going to coat it with anything because all it's going to be doing is reheating. We're not actually cooking it in this dish, so I don't need to waste the oil by putting it in here because I'm not cooking anything in here. If I were cooking with it, it would be a totally different story. I would be putting something else in there. I'm going to not go that way because I'm about to make a mess. We will scoop this out slowly because I was about to make a mess. Isabel loves mac and cheese, and I want to make sure she can have the things that you grow up eating. We have had, but you know, a better version of it. Maybe not perfect, but a better version that's within my budget. I was looking at an app the other day, talked about this in another video. It was one where it tells you if the food you eat good or not, and I was like, I felt like such a bad mom. I was like, I've tried the best I can with what I got. You're telling me everything I'm feeding my child. And then I went down and looked a little further, and it was saying you need to buy this instead. And when I looked up the prices, it was like 10 to 15 times more than what I would actually spend on some of this stuff. It was like, I think you're trying to guilt me as a parent into buying something else. I really do. Marketing ploys. You have to watch out for them. Okay, now, there we go. Let's avoid a mess. Let's avoid a cheese disaster. Okay, I'm gonna get this in the sink. It's very heavy. We're gonna wipe this off as well. I have to get a new towel after this is all said and done. To keep my countertops clean. My trivets. I use the trivets for everything. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside, let it cool down just a little bit, and we will get it in the refrigerator. It is cool enough that I don't have to put it on anything, so I'm just going to set it over here. My glasses keep fogging up. I've got all this steamy stuff happening over here. We're just trying to get all the water cooked out of those potatoes so we can make a potato salad. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to turn these up a little bit. Let's go ahead and make dessert. So dessert is a fluff. It's a very easy meal. So we're going to start here with the cream cheese. Trying to decide how I want to do this the best. I thought I had enough balsa, but I'm wondering if I actually did. So yeah, we got it, we're good. We got it. We got this. So this is a block of cream cheese. It's been softening, getting ready. What we're going to do is we're going to mix it, cream it with our cocoa powder and our cocoa powder and our sugar. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do that is because the sugar is grainy. It's stevia. I'm eating this. I want to have some sugar. Well, not sugar. I want it to be sweet. I can't have regular sugar. I've been doing good. I have been doing very, very good. I think I shocked Darren with how good I've been doing with this because I like chocolate. I like chocolate a lot. And I did not want to give up chocolate to see if it would help with what's going on, because that was one of the things, like, cut out chocolate. And I'm like, you're trying to kill me. You are trying to kill me slowly. He's like, no, I'm trying to make you better. But I've stayed away, except for like meals like this where I can have my chocolate without actually blowing anything. So I have some stevia here. We're going to do 1/3 cup of stevia. Stevia is not my favorite. If you put too much stevia in anything, I can taste it. I can tell it. It overpowers the dish for me. So I'm just going to do 1/3 cup. I have found for dishes like this, 1/3 cup is like just right for me. Put that to the side. As you see, we've got our stuff started. We're going to take some cocoa powder. Well, we get our cocoa powder from the Amish store. I have found it's actually cheaper there. And you can get just pure natural cocoa powder, just one ingredient cocoa powder, and it's a lot cheaper there. And I don't want this too chocolate. I want chocolatey, but not too chocolatey. So we're going to do, let's see. Let me see how much 3 tablespoons is. So that's 15, not 15, oh Lord, that's 5 tablespoons. That is 9 teaspoons. If you are new to cooking and you're like, how do you know teaspoon, tablespoon, all that? Learn the basic, like, how many teaspoons does it take to make a tablespoon? Once you know those basics, it makes your life so much easier. How many ounces are in a cup? All of those things kind of need to know as you start to learn to cook, because then you can kind of see from recipes what it's actually going to work like, what it's going to do. If it really is frugal to make that recipe, because if a recipe calls for, 40 ounces of some really expensive cut of meat, it might not sound like a lot, or depending on what the recipe says, or even like 10 ounces, but that cut of meat is, $10, $15, $20 a pound. It might be out of your price point. So learn that as you go through and see. So we're going to do the whipping cream first, because we'll probably have to do it in batches, because I don't know if my bowl is big enough. So we've got a little bowl here. I'm gonna set it on my silicone mat here. And I'm gonna get my handheld mixer. Try not to knock everything into the floor. I actually had to buy one of these. I had tossed our old one. It was so old. I don't think Aaron had one. I actually think it stopped working, didn't it? It stopped working. Aaron is in the kitchen watching me cook. He's waiting for the potato salad. Aren't you? He is. He just shook his head. He's like, yes, I'm waiting for the potato salad. Make it now. You don't like it hot though. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna do, I don't want to do too much because I don't want to overwhelm my bowl. So this is Best Basic Whipping Cream. It was on sale this week. That's why I went with this particular dish and not another one. Like I said, I was going to make peanut butter cookies because you can find those recipes where it just takes a few ingredients. And I have a lot of peanut butter on hand that I've got to stockpile. So I kind of went back and forth on a few of those. I turned the wrong stove off. So we're going to go... No, I could do that. It's just two. It's just two. We'll be fine. We're going to push it. See what happens. Let me stir my potatoes. I don't want them to stick. And we're going to turn this, we're going to go slow until it starts to build up, then we will turn it up. But we're making full whip. That's the goal here, so it's going to be noisy. This is my least favorite part of this because this thing is so messy. But for this, I feel like you have to use a handheld mixer. Once you get into the consistency you want your salt, do a quick wipe off. I've gotten it everywhere. I think it's even in my hair, so just ignore that. It is in my hair. That's okay. This is what it looks like so far. And if I can't get any thicker than that, that's okay. This consistency will work for this recipe. But I wanted to scrape the sides. Then we're going to go back and see if we can get a little thicker. That's about where I want it. So we've got this nice Cool Whip. And the reason I did that first instead of doing the cream cheese first is because we want if I would have taken the cream cheese, it would have been incorporated into the heavy cream. I want the cream cheese, the heavy cream incorporated into the cream cheese. So kind of think these things through when you go through so you don't have to stop and wash, because now I can just use this. I don't care if this won't be over whipped, it'll be fine. We want to kind of mix that cream cheese in before we want to be careful because it's powdery, so if you're not careful, what you will do is you will have a whole like fluff of powder come up towards you. Like that, and I don't want that. I'm going to lose all of my powder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this Cool Whip and incorporate it now. And it's going to give it enough moisture to that powder that it should not powder up anymore. We're just working to get this smooth. That is all we are doing. We are just working to get this smooth. And I'm going to do a really quick taste to see if it needs more cocoa powder. No, and it does not need more sugar. It is good. I'm going to try to get all this off because we don't want to waste anything. Here you see, get all of that off. Then what we will do is we will fold the fluff into here. Isabel loves fluff. We found this out over Christmas because I made one. It was an easy, simple dessert, and she just, for her, it was the best thing ever. Now, if it's a little lumpy, that is okay. I'm not going to be super upset about it. I'm hoping for it to be smooth, but that's okay. You can put chocolate chips in this. I think that is a great additive. Cookies crumbled up. Like I said, I'm going to do one for Aaron and Isabel with some crackers, some chocolate crackers in it. And then the rest will be for me. They aren't as limited in their sweet stuff as I am, so. And it's actually coming together really nice. I'll tell you, I hate cream cheese desserts because I have to use this thing and I feel like it's so messy. If I can't do it with a fork or something, I try to avoid them as much as possible. That turned out absolutely wonderful. We'll do another really quick taste and see if it needs anything else. You can add some vanilla. I'm not going to add any vanilla here. That's good. That's good. It's sweet enough. It would be better with powdered sugar. Yes. Yes, it would. But I can't have powdered sugar, so this is like, it works. I like all these recipes that say, it tastes just like. It does not taste just like. I'm sorry, it's not. It's a totally different product. It is no taste-wise similar. It tastes like what it is, but it is good. It is good. It is a good alternative that will work for this dish or for this week. So since I've been on this diet, Aaron's actually lost like 20 pounds. And his diet hasn't changed. So we're not quite sure how that happened. get this put away here in just a second. So let me actually go ahead and get this mixed up with the cookies and show you what that looks like and get them into dishes. So I'm gonna grab some dishes over here. Here is one. I have another little dish. That is what I use there. Okay, I'm gonna put my portion in here and then I will add the cookies into the bowl and I will find another dish for them. Actually, no, I've got. There we go. The great thing about meal prep is you have so many containers that you can pull and use, and it just works out really, really well. And you can double the cream cheese in this and it would be fine. I did get 2 cream cheeses this week and I decided just to use one here because cream cheese hasn't really went on sale for a good price. Lately, it's been more along the lines of like $3. Another place had it $3, but you had to buy 5. You had to buy 5 items in this list of stuff to actually get the discount. So there was no way I was buying 5 items. It was all super expensive stuff, so that wasn't happening. So here are the cookies. They're crackers. They're chocolate crackers. They've got a little sea salt on them. They're not Aaron's favorite, but I've made this before and he liked it in it. So they're not his favorite, but okay, yeah, they smell fine. Making sure they were sealed. We're just gonna break them up. I don't need too many, just enough to give it some texture, some crunch, a little bit of a different taste. And they will soften up as it sits, so they won't be so tough. But again, and I've got the chocolate chips here. I might throw a few of those in there too. We're going to get the rest of this out of here. And I tried to keep this super simple and something that we could all eat and we would all enjoy. But use like 2 to 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar if you're a powdered sugar person. And then this is what theirs will look like, and they will. Isabel will gobble this up. She'll be like, I want fluff, I want fluff. Okay, so I'm gonna get these in the fridge, and then we're gonna make the potato salad, do the carrot casserole, and see what else we can mark off our list before we are finished for the night because I'm getting tired. Okay, we're back. Here are my rolls. They're lovely. And I actually am going to use this butter wrapper that's left over. I'm going to just take that and I'm just going to wipe it over top of these just gently. Be very, very gentle just to get the leftover butter off of this so we don't waste any of it. And we're going to get these into the oven on top of the top rack and just watch them to make sure they don't start burn. They take about 35-40 minutes, somewhere around there. It really just depends on your oven. Perfect. Now let's make this potato salad for Aaron. He is dying for it. So here we go. I have potatoes. I've got the eggs in there as well. I got all the eggs done. I don't think I'm going to get to making deviled eggs tonight. I'm getting to my breaking point, or to my I need to go to sleep point. So let's get this mac and cheese, this potato salad made. And here we are with potatoes. We have eggs. I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 eggs in here, which is a good number. I do between 6 to 8. It really just depends. I used all the broken eggs. And I'm going to salt this pretty heavy because they are potatoes, and potatoes did not have salt in them. I did not can them with salt. We're going to add a hefty amount of pepper. And this pepper is a peppercorn that we get from our vanilla group on Facebook. And I'm going to tell you something. We got like 4 ounces the first time. I'm asking Erin. And it's lasted us forever. Like, I don't think we've used half of it. So, okay, the next thing we are going to add is we're going to add this pickle relish. And this relish is stuff I make from home. Just with what we have or what we get at a local farmer in the area. Do a sniff test. It's just a very basic sweet relish. The main thing I have to buy for this is the peppers. Now, I did forget to put onion in this, but I don't add onion to my potato salad anymore. My mom would not eat my potato salad because I don't have onion in it. She would say it was wrong. Aaron doesn't care. He cares more about the relish, the vinegariness, the mustard, the mayo. He doesn't really, the onion, he doesn't really care for onions. So that's like one of the things that you will never see in my house. If you see an onion in my house, you're like, she's making something really weird for somebody else because I'm not going to eat it. And I'm going to put a hefty amount of mustard in this. I'm always light on the mustard. And you can see I just took the top off. Like this recipe, I have no idea about the amounts. No idea. I don't even know what it tastes like. I think I probably put about a cup of mustard in there. And we're going to probably put about 3/4 of the mayo in here. So if you notice, this actually says salad dressing on it. The ingredients are the exact same as the mayonnaise, and Aaron can't tell a difference. I don't know how we ended up with a salad dressing instead of mayonnaise, but somehow we did. So we're using it up, and it will be fine because he's been eating it all sandwiches. Because I made him a sandwich. I said, "Does your sandwich taste any different?" He's like, "No." I said, "Well, it says salad dressing, but the rest of the ingredients are the exact same, like verbatim to their mayonnaise." So if salad dressing is cheaper in your area, look at that and see if it actually tastes different. We're just going to give it a good mix. Get it all incorporated. I don't want this to be mashed potatoes. Aaron does not like mashed potatoes, potato salad. He wants the chunk of potato in there, and he wants it to be vinegary, and that's really his main. Vinegary, mustardy, and just cold. When I cook something for my house, I cook it for the people who are going to eat it, not necessarily for anybody else. Can I get you to do another appearance? He is willing to come on camera to taste test. I know it's going to need more vinegar and probably more mustard.
Vinegar and mustard.
You can put that in the sink.
Yep. That's what it needs.
No more mayonnaise?
No.
Can you tell it was salad dressing?
No.
Not at all? Don't get comfortable. You have to come back and taste this again. I'm not tasting it. We are both wearing Christmas shirts today because it's what we pulled out of our cabinets.
And not on purpose. I forgot she had the Christmas one on when I pulled this one out.
I'm surprised you noticed. this again without making a mess. Good.
Yep.
So as you can see, here it is. I will get this into a container and get this put up for in the refrigerator, so it will be cold for later, because that's one of the things that does not need to be heated up. Now let's make this carrot casserole souffle confetti thing that I'm super excited to have, because I'm going to tell you something, I loved this. I could have eaten it, I could have done without any other thing, but this one, ooh, that's hot. It's very hot. This one thing that we ordered that day, it was so good. So I'm going to pull all these carrots. Well, first I'm going to give this a quick mix. So what I have in here is, I have butter and eggs, and I've got to be careful because I don't want the eggs to cook. I want everything to be incorporated, so I'm going to have to go slow. If the butter is not melted, you can melt your butter, that's fine. I typically don't melt butter unless it's like a recipe I have to melt the butter, because if I'm putting it in the oven, the butter's going to melt naturally. Even most doughs, like I tend to skip that, and I've never really had that many issues with it. So the next thing I'm going to add is some salt. I think I'm going to add a touch of cinnamon, because we're going to make this kind of like a sweet potato casserole. We're going to add a bit of molasses. Oof, I'm sorry, that's cinnamon. Oof. I think I'm throwing just a smidget of molasses. And I'm making this up as I go. I'm doing this the same way I would make a, close to what I would do for a sweet potato casserole. I don't make many sweet potato casseroles because we prefer regular sweet potatoes. It's not something I'm really, I hate the topping. I hate the topping. I don't want the topping at all. I don't want it at all. I'll do 1/3 of a cup of stevia here, or Splenda. This stevia Splenda. I'm going to do 1/2 of a cup of flour. Now, yes, I don't eat flour most of the time, but 1/2 of a cup for the amount we're going to make, and I'm just eating a small amount of this. I think I'll be okay. So this is something I'm eating every day. It's a small amount, and I'll eat like a tablespoon. And you can see I've got this in the bowl that I'm going to cook it in. Yeah, I did that on purpose. I hate dirty dishes. I do. I was like, I'm not dirtying up another bowl if I can help it. So I was like, I'm just going to use the bowl we're going to cook this in and go with that. Yell at me in the comments if you want to, that's fine. I'm just going to get this kind of incorporated. And tomorrow, when I make Aaron's plate, I'll have him come back on and taste test all of this for you. We're just going to get all these carrots in here, and we're going to go slow so we don't overcook the egg, and we're just going to mash these up as we go. Give them a little mash, and they are mashing up just fine, because we don't want those eggs to cook up as we go. We just want to be very, very careful. But we also want the butter to kind of melt a little bit more, so those carrots should be hot enough that the butter is going to melt. I try to find shortcuts around just about every dish I cook. I don't like to take extra time. So if I can use the bowl, I'll use the bowl. If I can, you know, just make it just one step easier, I'm going to make it one step easier if it works. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. Like when I do blackberries, I can't skip the step of taking out the seeds. I've tried that and I have to do it a certain way. If I try to do it easy ways, I have found I just waste my time. So I think I am going to have to get my immersion blender out. I think it's going to take too long otherwise. So I will come right back as soon as I get that washed. Got my immersion blender. We are ready to get that done. I'm going to take that fork out and I'm going to pull some more carrots into the pan here. We're just going to go slow and get this where we want it to be. There we go. I think this would also be really good if you did like a sweet potato with it. Like a carrot and sweet potato or carrot and squash. That would probably be really good too. You can start to see it's starting to turn that really pretty, pretty orange color. We're gonna add a few more. And we're just going to go slow so we can make sure we get those carrots completely pulverized. That's what the immersion blender does best. It will tear it up. And I really do like the quick and easy, just a couple of, I think that just works so much better. It's not as jarring. It doesn't like, it's not as loud. And that is coming together so much nicer. You can see here, we're almost done. We have one more batch of carrots to get out of here. We got these carrots for $1 a bag a couple of weeks ago. I was going to make this and I was like, hold on a second. We've got Easter coming up. I'll make it for Easter. It makes better sense. We got them for, I think, like $1 a bag at our local food line. We don't buy a lot of food line because a lot of times it could be more expensive, but sometimes you can get a really good deal. Like they have, on certain items, they have really good sale items. And then if you get your Shop Your Way from them, I think that's what it's called, you can get rewards. And I'm telling you, we probably get 20-30 bucks every year just in cash back to use at the grocery store. Just with our little card that their MVP card. And that is all of those. As you can see, this is a lot faster than using a fork. And I put 4 eggs in here earlier. Just went ahead and cracked them. Okay, all done. Now we'll get this in the oven. I don't throw everything in the floor. We'll get this into the oven. Let it bake until it's set and firm. But we're sure like the egg has set through. But here, isn't that lovely? This looks so pretty. I have to be careful not to dump it out. Once everything is finished, I will show you everything that went to the oven. We'll leave the cold stuff up and then we will have Aaron taste test tomorrow when I make his plate. Well, everything has finished cooking. I've got everything ready to go. We'll get in the fridge as soon as everything's cooled down. But I wanted to show you what it looks like now because it is ready to eat, but we'll finished cook, we'll cook it again or heat it up slowly in the oven tomorrow for our meal. And we'll just show you what we have. So here are the mashed sweet potatoes. Very simple. All I do is just mash them. They're so soft, they mash with a fork. But all the liquid is out of them, which was the number one thing here. Here is the bread. Beautiful. Turned out perfect. Those rolls just puffed up so nice. So they're going to be great to eat tomorrow and throughout the rest of this week. Here is the carrot casserole. It looks really good, so we'll see how it tastes. Again, this was a test recipe. Here is the broccoli. Again, it's just roasted in the oven, just where it's cooked. It'll be a little crispy, so it's going to be a bit of a different texture for me throughout this week. But I'll add butter to this as I heat it up individually because that's just my preference. Here's our ham. I got it off the bone and cut up, and then I also have the ham bone ready to go in the freezer to make ham bone broth later, and also to use as bones to put into my garden. And then here are the pancakes. They were a little harder to make. They didn't come together and bubble up as regular pancakes did, but got those made, and that is my breakfast for the week. And here is our lovely pumpkin bread. So tomorrow, Kieran will try this. He'll tell you if I did okay or if I failed in this meal spectacularly. But we'll get all of this put in the fridge. I'm going to get ready for bed, and I'm going to get some rest. You see, I've cleaned up the kitchen and started all that, so I'm going to let these cool, get them in the refrigerator, and get some rest.
Okay, so here with the food.
Minus the broccoli.
Right.
You don't really care for broccoli.
Right. And I was already, before it started filming, digging into this.
Right.
That sounds great. Let's see, mac and cheese. Good. What's this, sweet potato?
It's either, yeah, that's the sweet potato.
Mm-hmm.
That's the carrot.
Oh, this is the carrot thing?
Yes. It's not quite the same, but it's close.
Not quite the same, but it's good.
It's good.
That's good. I like that.
I think it'd be good with regular sugar.
Maybe. Ham. Rolls are really good.
This is a good Easter dinner.
Yes, and eggs are really good. I'm gonna enjoy all this for sure. Mostly potato salad.
He's got more potato salad. If I go light on him, he tells me I must be mad at him.
But anyways, I'm gonna go eat. So if you haven't already, go check out our link tree with all of our other content. And if you haven't hit the like button or subscribe to our channel yet, we'd really appreciate if you do that. And make sure to leave a comment below. And
as always, thank you for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a great day.